Sounds like we have a lot of advice around negotiating with ourselves, setting forth the intention to take care of ourselves, and negotiating with family. So, talking with your husband or partner about taking time for yourself. And Serena, you mentioned something around work. So, what do you think companies and organizations what can they do to better support parents and new parents, particularly in this type of world where some of us are working from home? What would you like to see happen at your company, or what's something that your company does really well?
That's a good one. I was thinking about this one recently, and one thing I have read and learned is just having leaders show and say, I am taking an hour lunch. I'm going away for an hour to take my lunch, or I'm leaving work early because I'm taking my kids to the park, and like being comfortable with that being the norm of like, I think work-life balance is normal and fun and necessary. I'm a leader. I'm going to go do it so that you as a team member, whether you're my direct report or, anywhere around the company, you can see me doing it and feel more comfortable doing it for yourself. I think that's critical. I was like gonna ping our CEO and be like, you should be in this call right now. You have kids. You should be here with us. Just so that, I think having FaceTime and meetings like this is super crucial, or like opportunities like this is super crucial for our leaders to just have a good pulse and also know like, hey, you got to model this great behavior. You got to do the things. You can't just say, go do it, or like say, go do it, and then like, don't do it. Cause that's a really confusing message to team members. We just like, you told me to take time off, but then you don't take time off. I don't get it. What do I do?
And Nikki, I think it's important for us to not normalize, as Serena indicated, to not normalize toxic behaviors that aren't good for us mentally, physically, or socially. A really, 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 and I actually got this from my friend Liz here, who talked about, and I really, really internalized this, Liz, so you'll be proud of me, was, leaders have the most can possibly have the most impact on their employee's life equivalent to their spouse. And that was something I got from a conversation with Liz. And I literally, when she said that, I really took that to heart. And so those of us that are leaders, as Serena was saying, all of my staff will tell you when I'm leaving today, when I left, I hope, because it's raining in DC, and they're like, oh, I hope Anthony doesn't have a lacrosse game today, because they all know, hey, I'm out because I will not miss my son's game, barring being out of town or some serious like life or death emergency. And so, to your point, Serena, we as leaders have to role model that. But again, I do think it's important. Like I'm looking at Brittany again, just because her munchkin is there. So my support to Brittany will be different than my support to Cassie, because me and Cassie have older kids, right? So Cassie might just need, hey, I might need to take 3 weeks off instead of 2 weeks off because we're doing a college tour or whatever it is. Whereas Brittany might just need to make an adjustment because, hey, next week the babysitter can't come till this time. And so I started off my comment with you all of, I think we just all need flexibility in whatever that looks like. And it looks completely different for each and every one of us. There's times and spaces. But I think as leaders, for me, as a person who's managing a team, and I sincerely took that to heart when I heard that from my friend Liz, was I started asking my staff, like, how are you? Like, no, not like just you, like, how's home? Is everything good? And I just found out, believe it or not, over the weekend, because I was being very intentional about asking that very specific question. A lot of times people say that, and you shouldn't really ask open-ended questions if you don't want the real answer. And one of my nurses, like, you know what? Actually, last week I had a breast biopsy. I want to let you know, I don't know what's going to happen. I might have to have this surgery. I'm like, wow. So now in the back of my head, her name was Katie, you guys don't know her, but when I see Katie, I'm like, how are you feeling? How's everything going? Because that's how I now need to support her, which is different from someone else. And so I think, and the other part of that, Nikki, that you talked about, or your question about tidbits for scheduling, schedule your time. Like today, I was supposed to be working out right now, but because Liz asked me about this 2, 3 weeks ago, guess what? I moved my training appointment till tomorrow. So I'm going to still get my workout in because I have a Peloton, but I actually started having a trainer on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And so I said, hey, my friend asked me to do this thing on Wednesday. Can I switch my workout session with you? Because I'm not going to miss it. I love Liz, but because that's meaty self-care time. Like it's penciled in, it's timed, I paid for it. And that's how I decompress. And I think we just have to, again, not normalize toxic behaviors. And a lot of times, particularly nurses, yes, we're quote unquote health heroes, but I don't need an S on my chest to know that I'm a great nurse or a great mom or a great leader. You got to take care of yourself, because again, if I die today, what dreams and ideas and greatness that I had if I just didn't take care of myself? And so again, as a nurse, I talk about health and wellness. And so if your employees, not just with parenting, but if you yourself, you're not going to be the best parent either if you're stressed out, if you're not exercising for yourself. And so Brittany, hats off to you, sis. Listen, it will only get a little bit more hectic when she starts running around and trying to stick her fingers in the sockets and run down the steps and hit her head. And it gets better. But the point is, yes, it's a season. But then as they get older, as Cassie and I can share, now you're worried about who the hell are they listening to or watching on the internet. So at least right now she's sitting in your lap. So again, it shifts. So give yourself grace and make sure you schedule whatever it is. If you like badminton, if you like talking to your girlfriends, I get my manicure every 2 weeks. That's my time to decompress. I put on music while I'm there and I just keep my eyes closed. So make that time for you, so the best version of you can be there for your kids, your family, and your workplace.
Love that. I think particularly what you mentioned about leaders, and I think many of you probably are leaders or will be future leaders in organizations. Think about it this way. This is something that I always tell people too. So I feel like Liz and I are on the same wavelength here, but you are the most important person as a leader to every single one of your direct reports. So if you have 5, you're the most important person in that organization to those 5 people. If you have 100, then it's those 100 people. So one thing that, I've always heard from leaders is, oh, I tried to be the last one out of the office because I want to make sure that everyone knows that I'm here to support them. We need to turn that on its head if we ever go back to the office, or if you're out working now or even working from home, be the first ones to sign off, but do it loudly. Say, it's beautiful outside. I'm going to go take my kids out to the park. I don't care if it's 4:30 or 5 o'clock, right? So leave loudly as a leader. And I think that makes a huge impact on your teams and what they feel comfortable doing.
Liz, I leave very loud. You'll be proud. I walk down the hallway like, bye guys, call me.
Yeah.
Call me if you need me. Bye.
Definitely do that too.